Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. I know I am not supposed to be cutting my own hair, especially my bangs. And if you're a curly girl, you get this because when you're dealing with this kind of hair, especially your bangs, if you try to cut it whenever it's wet, because it's got different wave patterns than whenever it dries, it's going to be too short. And so if then you try to cut it whenever it's dry, because of the wave patterns, it's going to be crooked. So I know I'm not supposed to be doing that. And yet, here we are. A week out from me being able to go see Barb for her to finally take care of my hair and the white that's coming in on the roots. And I went ahead and I did it. Now, as you can see, I didn't do it too short, but this side isn't necessarily blending in with the rest. Why do we do things we know we're not supposed to do? The pie was really good. You had a piece of it, and then you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and have one more piece. And instead of having just a slice, you have a quarter of it. Or you promised yourself that if you were going to binge watch those shows, that you were going to exercise beforehand. Oh, but then it got later in the day and oh my gosh, you might have to change out of your day pajamas into your exercise outfit before you change into your night pajamas. So just go ahead and binge. Or are you like me? Shopping. I have a challenge with books. I have enough books because it's not enough for me to have it on some sort of device. I want to be able to write in the margins. I want to highlight things. And so I get notice of one of my favorite authors. Braden just announced yesterday that he's got a new book coming out, and I'm going, oh yes. And here's the thing, because I'm writing in them, it's a little bit of a challenge to be able to donate them to, say, the library whenever I'm done with them, because they're all marked up. So what about you? You're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get that new top. And then several $100s later, when you've checked out, it's the entire wardrobe with maybe the jewelry and the shoes. And you promised yourself you weren't going to rack up any more credit card debt. Why do we do the wrong things at the wrong time, sometimes with the wrong people, for the wrong reasons? I'm going to share all of that with you by using an example from my life that then colored every single experience I had with men after that until I was in my 30s. I was 13 or 14, riding on the back of a stolen mini bike in the middle of the night with a potential new boyfriend. What? Yeah. Okay. And what does this have to do with us binging on food and what we might be watching and spending and cutting our bangs? Okay. So you have something known as imprints. It's what I deal with every single day as a certified hypnotist, as well as an instructor. Imprints are simply an emotional experience that you've been through, either through repetition or it was an intense emotional experience that you only needed to go through at one time. And it created what could be considered as a filter with criteria. That anytime you go through a similar experience, it's going to be changed to fit the criteria from the first experience, which is the reason why some people can take something really good and absolutely muck it up. They're perverting it down to their past pain of their previous imprint. Or somebody can go through something absolutely challenging and incredibly painful, and yet find it to be something that propels them into action, that they never have that experience again. So we have thousands of imprints that run our life. Consider them shortcuts. But you can have imprints that are going to be pain-based because of the original experience, and now they're continuing to cause you challenges as an adult. Okay, so we had moved into a new neighborhood whenever I was 13. And I was doing everything I could to try to fit in with the in crowd. So had gone to spend the night over at a brand new girlfriend's house. There were several of us. And because her mom worked nights, no supervision, so we're out walking the neighborhood. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning that we're walking around. Group of 13-year-old girls. And about that time, a guy that I knew, he was several years older than me, pulled up on a mini bike, and we had been saying, okay, could we potentially date here? So he pulls up on a mini bike, and I'm thinking to myself, do I hear sirens going off in the background? Do I hear police cars? No big deal. And he's like, come on, hop on. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm doing the wrong thing by being out there. Now, I'm going to explain in just a little bit what each of these things are, but I was doing the wrong thing because I was looking for certainty. And certainty is when you assign your power over to other people for you to be okay. So I'm out wandering around in the middle of the night for certainty. And doing things at the wrong time. We always want to feel like we have freedom of choices. And if we feel like our choice is being taken away from us, then we're going to rebel. So I'm doing it at the wrong time. And now I'm getting ready to do it with the wrong people. So I hopped on the back of the bike and we took off through the woods. And I noticed he doesn't have the headlight onto the bike. And so I'm hollering over the sound of the bike while I'm going, wait, do I hear police sirens getting closer? I wonder what that is. So I'm hollering over the sound of the bike. We can't see anything. Why don't you turn on the headlight? And he screams back, I can't. I stole this bike. I stole this mini bike, and we're running from the police. Now, I could have asked for him to let me off right then. 3 o'clock in the morning, 13 years old, a guy that I only met a short time previously, and now we're booking through the woods on a stolen mini bike. But no, I'm doing the wrong thing at the wrong time with the wrong people. And now we get to the last one. It's known as the wrong reasons, to where I am craving love and I'm going to settle for the scraps of connection. Again, we'll break that down in just a little bit to see how all of this applies to you and the imprints that are holding you back because of your painful past. Okay. So how did all of this wind up? The police did show up. We could see their headlights and them shouting to each other as they were looking through the woods. They could hear the mini bike at times, and then we'd shut it off. And when they got too close, we'd take off again until, and again, dark night. We can't see anything. Full throttle. We're running down what we think is a trail. All of a sudden, we're airborne until we're not. We had jumped a creek bed without realizing it. And because one side was lower where we took off and the other side was higher. When we landed, we didn't land on top of the other side. We smashed in to the side of the creek bed. And I always think of Wile E. Coyote in those Warner Brother cartoons when he smashes into a building and slides down. Bike was totaled. We laid there probably unconscious for a while. By the time we came around, the cops were gone and I headed home. Wound up staying in a relationship with this guy for the next 4 years. Why? Okay. So we have 4 levels of imprints. You meet one of these levels and it'll be something that, hey, you done it once, but you probably don't feel a need to repeat it. If it meets 2 of the levels, you will have impulsive behavior, which it'll only happen once in a while, but when it happens, you got challenges. If it meets 3 of these levels, you're going to be compelled to engage in this behavior pretty frequently. And if it meets all 4, it now becomes part of your identity, and it is how you self-select what experiences you should go into. And remember how I told you that this one imprint created problems for me for the next couple of decades afterwards? Yeah, because I kept looking for men that were the match to this original emotional experience. Okay, so the first level will do the wrong things. This is the level of certainty. And we have been taught to assign our certainty, to transfer our power to other people to tell us that we're going to be okay. You had it with the people that were raising you, parents, older siblings, maybe grandparents. And then as you got older and then you started going to school, they told you then to assign it to the teachers in school. No one is transferring authority or transferring power back to you. You give it all to them and they tell you if you're okay or not. And then from there, it's going to be to your career, your boss, your relationships. So I had been raised in a household where I was told every single day how ugly I was. It's just the way things were. One of my siblings I had not seen for almost a decade. And when I ran into her again, I didn't even recognize her because of all the plastic surgery she had. Okay. So we're going to continue to do wrong things because we're waiting for that thing to tell us we're going to be all right. So maybe you're assigning your power over to that bag of snacks or over to the charge card. Doesn't matter what it is. You're looking for something to make you feel okay. But because the subconscious mind, which runs all of your habits and patterns, and whether you're a success or you're a failure, that's simply a repeated habit and pattern, it always looks to accelerate, to amplify what it's experiencing. So if you happen to be an overachiever, then you'll go up to the next thing, which is doing it at the wrong time. This is where we look for freedom. We don't want anybody to tell us what we have to do and when we have to do it. So we will look for a way to rebel if we feel like we're being controlled. But that rebellion always brings about crisis, chaos, and drama. And there's the challenge. We get addicted to the drama. I work with peak performers that will come in with one area of their life that they just can't seem to get under control. And it could be something as simple as hitting the snooze alarm 20 times in the morning. Literally, that is a client I had, which was a problem as a vice president for the corporation that they worked for. Continually late for meetings. Why? Because they felt like their choice of when to have these meetings had been taken away. And so they were going to rebel against it. And now we got challenges. So it wasn't the problem of oversleeping in the morning. It was the problem that they felt like they didn't have a voice or a say in what they wanted to experience. Okay, so we'll do the wrong things at the wrong time. I felt like I didn't have a say in growing up as far as what I was going to do when. So, yeah, I was going to be out wandering in the middle of the night. And by the way, that was a cycle that again went on for a long time of you're not going to tell me what to do. I was suspended so many times my school district asked me to leave permanently, and it was only because of my parents going to them begging for a second chance that I got back in because I was consistently rebelling. They saw me as a problem child, but they only saw the symptoms, not the cause. Okay. But again, that's not enough. Now we're going to take it up to the next level. So we've dealt with certainty, we dealt with freedom. Now we're going to deal with worthiness. Am I seen by others as acceptable? Will they include me in their group? So we'll do the wrong things at the wrong time with the wrong people because we're just hoping that someone will finally see our brilliance and make it okay to be us. But that's not what happens whenever you've started down the wrong path. Because the only people that want to accept you are the ones that are wounded just like you. And two negatives do not create a positive in this experience. You just continue to trigger each other. So now I'm setting up an imprint for compulsive behavior, wrong things at the wrong time with the wrong people. You ask for an accountability partner. I had someone share this with me the other day. I just need an accountability partner. Oh no, that will screw your success up rapidly. Why is that? Because you're going to trigger that accountability partner because they're not going to want to do it either. And both of you are going to give each other excuses of why you should just skip working out, moving forward, polishing up that resume, whatever it might be. Nah, just go ahead and binge watch your favorite show with that pie and give each other all the reasons why you'll get to it tomorrow. You don't need an accountability partner. Instead, what you want is a correction coach. If you were to think about this, think about an Olympic athlete. They don't need an accountability partner to keep them moving forward. They need their coach to say, you're doing this move wrong. And not only is it not going to get you where you want to be up on the podium, winning medals, but it's also going to wind up hurting you. You're going to strain something. You're going to tear something. You could potentially break something. And so that coach sees the potential in the athlete and corrects them until the potential has the environment to take root, grow, and start producing fruit. It's the same way with somebody leading an orchestra. They don't keep the members accountable for the practice on their own time. No, they're there to say, now is when you produce. Now is when you all come together, and I will correct you if you're off key, if you're off tempo. The maestro is meant to keep all the pieces moving to where what it produces is going to be enjoyable. Wrong things, wrong time, wrong people, certainty, freedom, worthiness. We'll pick people that are just feeling as unworthy as we are. And then the last one, for the wrong reasons. We all want love, but we've been taught and conditioned to settle for the scraps of connection, to where we dumb ourselves down so somebody else does not feel bad. We hold ourselves back because we're so afraid of losing that we'll give up ourselves in seeking that acceptance. So I was doing the wrong thing at the wrong time with the wrong guy because I was hoping he would finally love me. I was so missing that in my life. Here's the challenge, because I never experienced transfer of authority or transfer of power. I was in my early 30s before I discovered how to begin accepting myself and understanding, when I went through this series, that it wasn't to hurt myself, to hold myself back, to sabotage myself. It was who I was at the age that I accepted this imprint. 13 years old, 14 maybe. It was that younger me crying out, going, I do not know how to cope in an adult world. I never received the skill set to be okay with me. So whenever you might find yourself self-sabotaging, doing these things, and you're like, why did I do that? It is because the younger part of you, that imprint, is coming to the surface and saying, please assist me. I don't know what to do with this stress. So now I'm stress eating to suppress it and repress it. I don't know what to do about the fact I feel like I have no choices in this. I worked with somebody the other day. I had a consult with them. And after just talking to him for a few minutes, I said, are you calling me because you wanted to? Or are you calling me because somebody in your family asked you to? And he said, somebody in the family. I said, I can't work with you. You've got to decide that this is for you, not them. Because you'll rebel and you'll sabotage the very success you say that you want, because you need to want it for you, not to make life okay for them. So wrong things, wrong time, wrong people, where you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I here recently had to cut off a friend because some of the things that they were doing were no longer in alignment with my values for leadership, for growth, and for what's right. Right now, they're scamming the system. They're taking something that's not theirs, and they don't see anything wrong with it because everybody else does it. Okay, I'm not going to make you wrong for it. I'm just going to say you can no longer be in my world with that type of identity, because I cannot take the chance of allowing that to infect my soul any longer. Wrong reasons? This part of you is saying, please show me how to love myself in this area. Show me how to take care of myself. You already hold that potential. But until you understand why this imprint is triggering you, you'll continue to live it out, hoping that things will get better. And all you'll do is continue to reinforce the original problem that started with. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up with your plan of action. But before I do that, if you are looking for assistance with this, hypnosis allows you to dialogue with these different parts of you. Now, why can't you do it just on your own? Because the problem was first created by somebody else in your life and what they asked you to be, not because of your brilliance, but because of how they wanted to control you and take away your choices to make you into what they needed you to be for them to be okay. Which means, since it was created by somebody else, it needs to be resolved with somebody else present. CanHypnosisHelpYou.com. You can go to that website, see how I assist people. There's even a link there that tells you how to have a no-charge consult with me. I'm going to tell you right now, I am the best rapid results hypnotist and coach. you will experience same day results. And I've had people go, oh, isn't that a little arrogant? What? You want to work with somebody that says, well, yeah, I think I'm kind of good at this. And yeah, I'm hoping that this is going to work for you. No, the last 25 minutes that I've spent with you has taken 20 years to cultivate. You're not investing in my time. You're investing in bringing out your magnificence because I know how to map out the journey for you to get there. So while I'm the best, it would be arrogant of me to say I'm the best for you. I'm not quite sure. Go to canhypnosishelpyou.com and find out. Let's have a conversation. So, wrapping up your plan of action, which one of these do you find yourself typically doing? The wrong things at the wrong things at the wrong time with the wrong people, or wrong things at the wrong time with the wrong people for the wrong reasons? Because whatever your top level is, out of the 4 levels I gave you, certainty, freedom, worthiness, and validation, wanting love, but accepting for the scraps of what someone else is going to give you. Whatever level you're at, that holds the level of your power to achieve success. So, number 1, see which one's your top level. Number 2, begin to recognize that whenever you act out with this, it's simply because there's a part of you going, I don't have a skill set to be able to move from problem into progress. And 3, no self-deprecation, no beating yourself up. Begin to love yourself in a way that says, okay, I get it. We're just living out our previous conditioning. Let's find ways to be able to upgrade that to bring ourselves out at our very best. Okay, I'd love to hear your story as far as what you think might have created your imprint and or one of the ahas that you received from today. Keep in mind, whenever I do these postings, you share with me one of your ahas, something you're going to implement based on what I covered in this. At the end of the month, I take all of those people who have commented on that, I put them into the drawing, and I give out a wonderful gift to be able to accelerate your success. So I'm looking forward to hearing about your stories, lessons learned, usually the hard way, but how you're going to use it now to bring you out at your very best. Have a great rest of the day.